So how far ahead are we talking about? 4, 5, 3? How many fights ahead are we talking about you stepping up? Because obviously the people that you're facing up against now, the people are going to say that you're too good for them, that they're not in your class, and they're going to want, as much as your name is being mentioned from the boxing writers, the boxing magazine, the different boxing people, the insiders in boxing, they're kicking your name around now, and so now they're asking that you go against more stiffer competition. So what do you think you're at, and what do you think you'll be ready to step it up a notch?
Well, up until this stage of my career, it's just been about getting the experience as a fighter. You know, learning the professional game. Not so much the fights themselves haven't been that much of a challenge. Where it's been about getting the preparation. Doing the rounds in the gym and learning the game, and learning what it's like to be, go through the rounds. Where now I'm getting to the stage where I've learned that I've had a year as a professional, and it's time to step up and step over, and be really challenged inside the ring also. So I'm looking whenever, when my mind's ready. After this fight, I should be moving up to 10 rounds, and once I can do that, I'll start be getting rated and get myself a ranking in one of the governing bodies, and whoever's next, just keep.
Does it do anything to your psychic as a boxer when you go in and blow these guys away in 1, 2, or 3 rounds?
It doesn't really, because you don't get caught up in it. You don't think, oh, I just knocked the guy out in 1 round, I'm the greatest. You know what I mean? Because you take it with a pinch of salt, because the guy, he wasn't really much anyway. So until you can knock the best guy out in 1 round, that's when it only means something then.
So in other words, when you're saying that when you knock these guys out, like you did the last opponent in Tennessee, you're saying that it leaves something to be desired inside yourself.
Yeah, it's not fulfilling, you just say, well, it was what it was, and you just move on, it's not even, sometimes you get more satisfaction out of a gym workout when you're sparring with some of the best fighters in the world, and you're holding your own and doing better than that at some stages. Then you say, well, look, that was very satisfying, where you're fighting these guys who are not on your level, and you're blasting them out. It's almost, just...
If you are offered an opportunity, hypothetically speaking, you were offered an opportunity to face off against anybody in the top 10, let's say in September. Somebody got injured and they needed somebody to fill in. Would you be willing to risk it? And if you did risk it, who do you think you could risk it against and get by?
I'd risk it against any of them, and I would take a risk, because at this stage, at that stage, I only had 10 or 11 fights, and I really have nothing to lose. And as well as that, the guys in the top 10 don't have much weight in my eyes. So besides the champion Jermaine, the rest of them, even Jermaine himself, they're all beatable.
How long do you think that you'll be able to make the middleweight division?
For the next couple of years, I really want to grab a middleweight title before I move up in weight, but I see it coming in the future.
Pause. Okay. Hey. Go ahead.
Who was it?
This is great, man. I was writing my thumb. Wait, don't turn on that. I was in the groove, man. I was writing down. I was thinking this stuff. Looking back on the great middleweights of the past, who would you like to pattern yourself after? Not style-wise, but as far as reputation, as far as respect, as far as leaving an impression on the fans and on the boxing insiders, the powers that be. Who would you like to emulate as far as leaving that legacy of Andy Lee in comparison to those before you, the great middleweights of the past?
Yeah, there's only, you have to look,
Monzon.
Yeah.
We're talking Monzon. We're talking Hagler. We're talking, of course, Ray Robinson. We're talking about Emil Griffith. We're talking about the great middleweights of the past.
Even though, Ray Leonard was more of a welterweight, and I might be nowhere near as much talented as he has, but at least he had such a good image, and he was such a, an ambassador for the sport. Even like Vladimir now, what he's doing now, he mightn't be a middleweight, but he carries himself well and represents himself well in and out of the ring, and that's like the De La Hoyas, you know, they have a good image and they give back to the sport.
So what you're saying basically is that you're not just fighting for money, but you're actually fighting for legacy. You want the people in Ireland, the people throughout the world, the boxing fans and the powers that be in boxing to respect the name Andy Lee. And when you leave, you want to leave an undeniable impression on the sport and those who watched you.
Yeah, like first and foremost, I'm fighting for myself. But secondly, I'm fighting for my family and for what I represent, which is Ireland, and which is, you know, it's almost like you give somebody else a dream, you know, where people see me, people from where I'm from can see what I can do, and there's no reason why they can't do it as well. And so it almost becomes bigger than you. You realise that, you know what I mean, like people tell me stories that, you know, a friend of mine told me the other day he met this kid and the kid had written above his door a quote that I'd left in the newspaper, and just, you know, just different stuff that, you know, you don't even realise it, but, you know, people out there are following me, and it's you know, they put their hopes into me, and then you carry that with you into the ring.
You know, there's a saying in life that success has many fathers and failure is always an orphan. How can you relate to that in your legacy in boxing? Success has many fathers.
Yeah, it's true. When you win and everybody loves you, when you lose, you know, you're the loneliest person in the world.
Do you ever think about that before you enter in the ring?
I think that's why I don't get attached to all the backslappers and the yes men who say, "Oh, well, great, well done, champ." You know, that means nothing to me, because, you know, they were never there when times were hard, and if times do get hard again, they won't be there then, you know, when they need me, when I need them. But
I made reference to your assistant trainer, Joey Gamache, inside the gym the other day, upon you and Jonathan Banks entering the gym for a workout. I said to you that there were no powers that be with y'all when you came in. I expected to see 5, 6, 7 more people come in with y'all, but nobody came in. The door closed and it was just you, the coaches, in the gym. And is that what you're relating to?
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, as well as that, you know, you don't.
Everybody loves a winner. Nobody's there with a song. So in other words, when you're making the cake, you're putting the ingredients in, the eggs, the batter, the cinnamon, and so on. Nobody's there, but when the aroma comes from the oven, then everybody has a fork, a napkin, and a knife. They want a piece of the cake when the cake is ready to come out the oven.
Started a little red hen, isn't it? Yeah.
Andy Lee, thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Good interview. Best. One of the best.